This video is about proton therapy, what it was like, and the after effects. Now, I had radiation therapy 7 years ago. It was called tomotherapy at the time. It was way different. Now, the goal of this therapy is to kill a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma that's around my left eyeball. 7 years ago, it was the right eyeball. So this is round 2 on cancer treatments. For this treatment, my head had to be locked to a table in an exact place so that the radiation would go in just the right places. That can be a little challenging. And this was the thing that they made up that covered my head. So it started as kind of a soft, moist thing that they put around my face. And I sat there a few minutes until it set up. And you'll see the locking mechanism here. So it looks something like this. So now you know why I wear a hat, by the way. So don't tell anybody. It's a big secret. But it just goes over your face like so. And then snap, 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 snap. And you are stuck to a table. As unpleasant as that may be. But it has that effect of keeping your head where it needs to be, because if radiation is bad enough, you don't want it going in the wrong places. So that was the start. That was a separate day, sort of a prep day. If you're claustrophobic or you have a high flight reaction, this can be challenging, but you can get through it. And I'll explain my method here in just a little bit, but it's one of those things that hopefully has a pleasant outcome. On procedure day, they had me lie down on a table, and like I showed, lock my head to the table. And there was this huge disc above me that looked like a UFO from underneath that was going to administer all that. I didn't take my camera with me because there's no telling what all that radiation would have done to a camera, so I don't have any pictures of that. I'm putting up a stock picture as kind of a general example. It's far from exact, but it gives you the idea of what I'm talking about. Now, I kept my eyes closed through the whole procedure, and it's a good thing because there were some bright light flashes off and on and kind of unpredictably. I was surprised they didn't recommend that, but I would advise, if you do this, just keep your eyes closed. But I could hear the machine moving around, turning, and then be flash, 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 sometimes not flashes. And that's kind of how the process went. Curiously, this thing smelled when it was being shot with radiation. It was a weird smell, kind of plasticky, kind of something I can't otherwise identify. The bad part was that smell stuck in my nose for a couple of days. The sessions for me lasted about 15 minutes each of actual session time. I did one per day for 2 days. What really surprised me was how it made me feel and how it affected me in general. When I did the 17 tomotherapies years ago, I didn't really notice any effect until after about a week or so, and then that effect started to accumulate. But after the first session of this, my fatigue set in right away. I had a headache that was pretty bad. The best I would compare it to would be like 12 hours of hard mental work where you're really focused and really got the gears going on high. Day 2 was more of the same. The fatigue and the headache ramped up just another notch. And I slept both days, just slept and slept and slept after the fact. Right now it's 3 days later and it's mostly gone away, but frankly, today would it be really easy for me just to lay on the couch and be a couch potato and just watch daytime TV or whatever's on this time of day. Interestingly enough, I got a little bit of a black eye. I don't know if it shows up on the camera, but I got a little purplish stuff going on there. It's a little better than it was yesterday, but that was interesting. If this doesn't work, I'll have to go through a series of 12 therapies of the same thing. Now, the doctor sets the chances of success of this 2-session system at 70% and the 12 sessions at 95%. But I've already had a lot of radiation in my body from the previous treatments, and I thought, okay, let's do the 2. If it works, that's great. We're good to go. If it doesn't work, then the 12 is still an option. And I really hope not, because I think recovering from 12 of these would be pretty arduous, but then nothing's really ever easy about cancer. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, back to how I stayed calm, locked down to the table. First, I asked for a warm blanket. They're just nice anyway, but they do have a little bit of a calming effect. And this is where some basic breathing and body mindfulness comes in handy. Before they locked me down, I just took a couple of deep, slow breaths. And then it really was intentional about loosening the muscles in my body, my shoulders and toes, and just so I wasn't all tensed up. And then I let them lock me in. And they were really good about waiting until I was ready for that moment. And then after I was locked down, I continued that, just taking intentional breaths, not deep breaths, not shallow breaths, just breathing, but being intentional about even breath. And anytime I felt like some part of my body would tense up, I'd just pay attention to that and loosen it up, especially my shoulders and my toes. It seemed like if I was managing those, then everything in between kind of worked out okay. That really, really made a huge difference in how I got through that. And yeah, 15 minutes felt like an hour and a half or 2 hours. But if you have to go through this, really try that. Just breathing and managing your muscles in your body. For me, it sort of took my mind off of whatever was happening around me. I hope you never join this club, but if you do, maybe that experience helps a little bit. And since you're still here, I'll share a little bonus. Afterwards, I was very careful about eating healthy foods, grass-fed meats, fish, leafy greens, broccoli, and so on, to give my body that extra tools and extra ammunition it needs to do what it needs to do, and hopefully clear out a whole bunch of dead cancer cells. I also carefully avoided highly processed foods, sugars, really sugars, and carbs. I believe food is fuel and food is medicine. So I focused on the good stuff to give my body those best tools. Don't know if it makes a difference. I don't think I'll ever prove that either way. But nothing bad happens by eating the best possible food. I have a follow-up in 6 weeks. I'll post on how that's going. Hopefully it's the most mundane post ever. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave comments, questions, concerns you have. Anyway, thanks.